Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Welcome to FredTalk. I am your host, Freddie Valoy, baby. Welcome back. If you're a listener, and if you're a new listener, just straight up welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today's guest, super awesome. She's a local comedian out here in North Carolina. She's like a coworker of mine. We all run around in these Raleigh streets, this triangle area, doing comedy, making people laugh, sometimes bombing horrendously, but it's part of the game, right? I wanted to have her on because she's a cultured person, right? She's a French Jew American, I believe. I don't know. She's definitely a French Jew. I don't know. I think she's American too. She might be illegal, actually. I think she is an illegal immigrant. And she's out here collecting cultures like Thanos right now. And I'm all about that shit, dude. She's going to be a French, Jew, American, Mexican. I think Mexican is next, Anna. You got to go for that one. But I wanted to have her on because I think she has an interesting perspective on just like some of the differences between like French culture and American culture, especially in ways that they look at relationships or even race and things of that nature. So we kind of get into a little bit of that. And then we get into a little bit of nerdy Marvel talk at the end. And then we also cover, because Anna is another ultra positive person, like genuinely, not this fake fucking pastel Instagram bullshit that we're seeing, all right? You know? She's a real motherfucker. She's a real happy motherfucker, but she's been through it too. So we talk about the dark moments in her life and the time where you get just a little dose of reality. But it did not let it dim her light. And I appreciate that. So follow Anna Vincenti on Instagram. She has a very wholesome Instagram, great relationship with her family, super cute relationship with her fam. So make sure to give her a follow. And before we go on to the episode, guys, this episode is brought to you by Own the Chaos Investing. Go to ownthechaos.com and sign up for their stock watch list. They're going to send you the 5 stocks to watch that day, bro. They're putting you on game. Get your money up. You come to FredTalk to get your funny up. Now go to ownthechaos.com to get your money up, all right? And it's not a junk email. This isn't 20% off of some tiki-taki bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Ownthechaos.com and sign up for the stock watch list. And without any further ado bits, give it up for Anna Vincenti. Yay! Anna, thanks for being on the show. Was that too loud?
No, I was pretending to be surprised that I was on your show.
I always like having another ultra positive person here. Yeah, there's not many of us out there. The world's a dark place.
We do be struggling to find more of us.
Right? Have you ever been accused or for being like too friendly or do people assume that you're being fake because you're positive?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, tell me about that.
Well, weirdly at work, I've been doing like a how to utilize your strengths, but also recognize that your strengths can be weaknesses, like used in the wrong way.
Yeah. And
the one we've spent the most time on is this positivity, because it actually falls as my number 1 on like my Clifton Strengths Assessment plug. And one of those downfalls is that you can be so positive, and especially the older you get, I feel like people assume it's unnatural.
Yes.
Because people assume like this kind of elation only exists in small children. So like either you're immature as fuck or you're not being real with me. Like this is not how you truly feel. And it's interesting. I mean, I think ultimately what it comes down to is then like dispelling the myth, right? Like, no, actually like I am this positive, and also like dispelling the myth that people are one-dimensional. Just because I am this positive does not mean that I don't have other emotions.
Yeah. And
that I can't, exist in sadness.
Yeah.
I'm a multi-dimensional person is all I'm trying to say.
You have layers.
I know, like onions in my hair. What about you? What's that experience like?
So I went through a period mostly positive, and then I went through a period of depression where I was literally like, I started at that point questioning my own positivity. I was like, why am I this positive? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I trying to manipulate people? Am I trying to like too much for people to like me? took me a few years, but I got knocked out of that, and now I'm back to like just like, no, this is me. This is like inherently me.
We back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was talking to my mom. She's like, Freddie, you've always been like that. You've always included people. If it was like a group of friends, like and somebody standing out, you'd always include them in, which I do now. And like if there's a new comic coming in,
yeah.
So I just embrace it. I embrace it a lot more now. But you're right. As you get older, it's even more weird. I can tell people sometimes think I'm fucking with them. I'm like, no, I'm easily excitable too. So
right.
I have to tell people, hey man, I'm being sincere with you. Like they'll give me good news. Like I love hearing good news.
Right.
And I'm like, oh fuck, that's what I'm talking about. That's good for you, man. Like, and they're like, okay, man. Like, I'm like, no, man, I promise you I'm being sincere. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting as you get older, don't let the world dim your light, Anna, please. We need you.
Thank you. I feel like I'm like learning from my ancestors right now. But yeah, actually, I similarly had a period where, like, for a multitude of reasons, I had like a depressive episode. Which, by the way, humans can have depressive episodes and not be depressed, because I feel like now we confuse like, oh, I have anxious feelings, I have anxiety, or like I have a depressive episode, which is normal for humans to go through those waves.
Yeah,
I have depression. No, there's the clinical versions of those things, and then just like the natural cycle of emotions we go through when we have turbulent times in our lives. But plug again, therapy. But yeah, so I went through this depressive episode, and I hadn't even like realized that it had taken over me. I just became this like very negative person, and it took people telling me like, why are you being so negative? That it actually, and it made me upset because of how I knew myself. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm super positive. And then I'd, say something incredibly negative, and I'd always just see everything glass half empty. And that was like a period of, 2 to 3 years. And it feels good to be back on this side. But I kind of, in retrospect, obviously, in the moment, it was very shitty. But like, I appreciate the challenge. Because before that depressive episode, I felt like I had never truly been broken, right? Which makes sense because I'm young.
Yeah.
So and I'm lucky. I've had a very great life. So I haven't faced all of the trials and tribulations yet, but having that moment where I like someone and things like truly just shattered me, and having to like pick up the pieces that I wanted to keep and then maybe leave the pieces that I didn't want to, was a really great test to be like, yeah, am I really this positive person? Like, does this feel true to me, or am I just, being inauthentic? And yeah, feels good to be back.
Yeah. So. Mine was about 2 or 3 years as well. And that's cool that I guess you went through it earlier too.
I feel both very fortunate for that, and also like that it was just so hard because I felt so young when it happened. And obviously I'm sure it happens for people like at an even younger age, but because a lot of those things I was experiencing was my first time experiencing those kinds of emotions, and I wasn't even an adult, and I like didn't know how to even express those kinds of feelings that I hadn't been given those tools yet. And it turns out people even way in their 30s, 40s experience that as well, because, I feel like the generations above us didn't have as many of those tools, especially to talk about mental health and whatnot.
Yeah.
I feel like this took a turn. We went from positivity to like, we all need help.
Keep it going. Yes.
But yeah, so it was so interesting. I felt like, is this what the adult world is? Because it was really my transition from like high school into college and then into, whatever the heck I'm doing now, which is, I guess, adulting successfully. But I was like, oh, like, is this what the transition is? Like, is this what becoming an adult is just this like depressive area? And now it's a part of me along with this other piece, and they have to fight. And again, and so that was kind of the unfortunate part of that, is I kind of mistook it as, or misinterpreted it as a transition into adulthood. But ultimately, eventually I realized that wasn't the case. And then I'm glad it happened so early, because now I feel like I just turned 25 like 2 days ago, and I'm like, I feel so liberated already. And I feel so lucky that I had to experience those things, because now I feel like I get to enjoy even more of my life. And we have so much time, right? But I feel like I like won this little like prize. Like I have even more time,
Yeah. What set that depressive episode off? Was it a relationship, or was it?
Yeah, it was mostly, it was an abusive relationship, which started in my senior year of high school. It was my first relationship. So it was like my perception of what like love was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like many abusive relationships, it becomes very codependent. You typically get, ostracized from your friends, or taken away from your friends, taken away from the things that, make you, because you kind of become like the possession of that person. And you feel very compelled out of sheer insecurity and dependence to comply with whatever that person is asking of you. And also because you're blinded by love, right? Like love is blind, and love is, what is it? something about how, I don't know, love makes you do crazy shit.
Yeah.
Although the kind of love I was experiencing now is hopefully not one I'll ever experience again. Ultimately, that was still in part, at least, what it was. And it compelled me to do things that I would look back at poor little Dawn and be like, sweetie, dick ain't worth it. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Well, what would you look like? What did you learn from that? Like, how do you know, or like, what are the signs you would notice now that you know you wouldn't get back into something like that again?
I mean, truly, I think the umbrella term for what was happening in my ex were two things. One, depression, which I even though I was aware of what depression was and like had friends that were depressed, like I still didn't have the tools to recognize all of the signs of it. So depression, and then insecurity, and all the things that fed into that depression, which was both I think like truly like clinical, but also, you know, family circumstances and, you know, life experiences and his lack of support from his family that I think contributed to, you know, him feeling like he was a young kid doing it all on his own. And yeah, insecurity around that. And because he felt like so much uncertainty, I think, and insecurity with his family, like where can I feel certainty and control? And that was another person. That person became me. And he had depression at the time, and I didn't realize it until, you know, it was too late. And it felt like the tables flipped. Like I fed him so much of my positivity. He like sucked it all out of me because he wasn't giving any of it back. And it became to like, we were just two like depressed people just mutually sucking the life out of each other. It wasn't great. And then at the time too, like completely unrelated, but I was like, I had always been like the smart kid at school, like the kid who didn't really have to study to get good grades. And I was just starting at the same time to be challenged like in school. So I was like, oh my God, am I like going through this shitty relationship and I'm like stupid now? Like, and it was right before I was entering college, and like all my friends got into their top schools. I literally got into like 0% of my top school. None.
Really?
0.
Oh, damn.
Which was honestly like shocking to me again, because I used to be the kid that like didn't have to face much, not restraint. I didn't have many barriers to face when it came to attaining the like intelligent things I wanted. I would get the A on the test. I would get into the school. I would get into the program. And then I didn't. And I was just like, and like people were like doing better than me in school. And that used to be how I measured myself, because education is very important to my parents, specifically my mom. And so when I wasn't performing like the way she expected me to, the way I expected myself to, I just like had this identity crisis plus this relationship. Damn. And it was just interesting.
Yeah. That's a gnarly mix right there. Yeah. Holy shit. So when did you move to the US?
When I was 7.
Okay. Do you remember France? Like,
yeah. I think a lot of the reason I remember it actually, because I had this conversation just recently. I have a lot of friends that are immigrants that came to the US around the time that I did, 6, 7. And they have no recollection, no ties, no kind of sense of self in their home country, because they never had the opportunity to go back. But I was very fortunate. And as soon as I came to the US, every single summer up until I was 15, every single summer I would go back to France and spend 3 months there. So it was
great. I used to do that for the Dominican Republic. It was like 5 years from when I was like, it was like 8 to whatever, 13.
Yeah.
I used to do the same thing. Those are so fun. I used to look forward to those.
Yes, exactly. And it would be like just this thing that I was expecting every year, right? Like, yeah, I'd do my school in America, and then I'd, go home to France, and that's where I did summer camp. And I would do like a day summer camp and then spend the whole summer with my grandma and see my French friends and like be a French person. And then I think of the like 17 years I've lived in the US, there are maybe 3 of those years that I have not spent time in France at some point. And one of those years was COVID. Like 1.5 years was COVID. And then one was high school. And I think maybe it's only 2 years. I don't know. I find my way back there at least once a year.
What are like the good and bad between like, both like, I guess living like a French person and then living as an American person? Because I feel like you have an interesting perspective on that.
Like me right now, or like as a kid?
Yeah. Like what have you noticed with Americans that you're like, I wish they didn't do that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. One thing is hyphenating of identities. I feel like that's such an American construct.
Yeah.
Like you're African American. like, first of all, so many people that are African American have not come, like, hailed from Africa in hundreds of years. So you're othering them much more so than they actually are.
Yeah.
Like, they've lived here, probably they got here the same time you did. And how come you're not?
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't know. You're just white. Like, you know, you're just American. Some people, I feel like every time it has to do with like white ethnicities, like Irish American, French American, whatever, like, if you came here recently or your family's like recently here, then you can claim that hyphenation. But if you came here with everybody else, including the people that came from Africa, you're just American.
Yeah.
And so that's something that bothers me, is that hyphenation, because we put people into boxes that way.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't happen in France, because there's a lot of black people in France, right? A lot of Muslim people.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we are closer to Africa than the US. So there are quite a few people from there. What's really interesting about France, and I'm not saying either is better. Ultimately, I think there's no like perfect solution, and both will bring about problems. But so whereas in America, there's like this hyper awareness of like, ooh, like you look like you're Asian American. Like you look like you're part of what makes this a melting pot.
Yeah.
In France, there's this kind of like obsession with just like blanketing everyone with like, you are French. And not necessarily claiming the other piece of what makes you, which again is good and bad. The nice thing about it is that, people that look different are just French, and they would probably claim that as well. Like, oh yeah, I'm French.
Yeah.
Unless maybe you just got here, but even so, like, I think people feel some sort of sense of pride if they do take the French nationality. But a lot of the conversation that's been happening recently in France, particularly around when George Floyd was murdered last year and all of those events were happening, those kinds of conversation were being had in America, that was really impacting Black communities in France, because they're like, well, first of all, this happens in France too, less so by very far, but this kind of murdering of Black people does happen.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's no talk about our other identity, that, like, even though we don't have to claim it because we're all French, we're still treated like we have one. So it's kind of more covert that in France, whereas it's very overt here.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question in America, like, papa, like, we're not trying to hide it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and in France, it's more so like, let's all be like one and together in French, but maybe we'll treat you like we see you as a hyphenated person.
Oh shit. Okay.
And so trying to reconcile those two, and maybe there is a happy medium somewhere where we can be hyphenates and not have to think about it, or not have to like occupy different spaces. Maybe it's a privilege as well as a difficulty to occupy those two spaces, right? Like, I feel often, I mean, it's easy for me to say, because I don't look like I can be targeted, like I fit a mold that people will be like, oh, she's non-threatening and she's white passing and whatnot. So I get to occupy two cultures and take the best of both, but not everybody gets to do that. And it would be great if we lived in a world where everyone got to do that.
Yeah. That's interesting. What's another like thing like that
That bothers me?
Yes. What bothers Anna?
First of all, it's fucking AC up in this bitch. I'm joking. What? I was totally.
I'm gonna turn the fan off. We'll meet halfway.
No, I
can't do anything.
No, I was totally joking. Because I was gonna get petty. But anyway, another thing is, and it's difficult to say that it bothers me, because it does bother me, but at the same time, like, everything has got, everything's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But one thing that does bother me is individuality, and how one's individuality, one's personal desires supersedes the good of the community. The classic example is like one's intense desire to want just the right to own a gun supersedes the safety of like all the children that die every year. Not even just children. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The people.
Like, which like blows my mind. Australia had like one mass shooting years ago, and they're like, nope, no guns, nowhere, ever. To me, that makes sense. But and I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong, but I have a really hard time coming from a place where guns are not allowed, wrapping my head around the idea that like the fact that we have so much evidence that the issue with having them in the first place. And again, this is my, personal take on this, that the issue is having them in the first place. People are like, oh, well, like just give people guns. Like when people with guns come in, they can shoot them down. Do you realize like the fact that they can even get there? What, you want to put more in the arena now? Like,
I just recently, I would say in the last 4 years, made that switch. Cause I was the same way. I was like, we shouldn't have guns. Then I was like, there's just too many guns out here. Like there's nothing we can do about it. Like they won almost like,
I mean, I don't like, again, it's a piece of American culture that exists that I don't understand, that comes from a past and history that is very racist. But also like when you look at the way it's written, like something around like the amendment says something like, the right to bear arms, it has something to do with the militia. It says like something about an armed militia. And also, by the way, and people say this all the time, when it was written, it was fucking like, you have to take 2 whole minutes to reload one bullet.
Yeah.
Like now we're out here fucking, that guy in Vegas that literally shot down an entire concert.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, don't think that legislation was written for those kinds of guns.
Yeah.
Like, like have it evolve.
Yeah.
Like the rest of our legislation. Well, not all of it, but
I feel like the gun issue and the abortion issue should be solved on a macro level, right? Like instead of each party trying to win both of those things, they should just go, all right, we'll let you have your guns. We'll let you have your abortions.
Right.
Let's never talk about it again.
Right.
But even though that's never going to happen, but I feel like in my head, I'm like, dude, let's just, they can solve it like that. We'll just trade issues.
Right. Let's
each
just
party has one and that's it.
At least to call it even. Cause right now everyone's trying to like one up each other or whatever. But again, and it's not, I used to, like my MO would be to just shit all over that. Like, fuck you for thinking this. And like, part of me sometimes really wants to, like, I think it's stupid that you think this. That being said, like it wouldn't be fair of me to assert that. Like there are different perspectives, histories, understandings of, culture and whatever. It's just not it is kind of my culture, but it's not my primary culture. And so it's just something that like to this day, I cannot wrap my head around. It's not just guns. It's with many things, right? Like the whole vaccine thing, like in France, like well, although they were skeptical of vaccines, like you don't get to question whether or not science is real in France. Like the fact that people can have an opinion on science in America, again, blows my mind. Like, and people are like, oh, like, well, like I like did the research and or I don't quite understand what the science, you're not supposed to understand. There's reasons people have to do like years of education to understand this shit.
I think you have to have some understanding, but I see what you're saying though, where it's like, it almost, since it got politicized, it didn't matter. The science didn't matter.
The science didn't matter.
Either way. One interesting thing, this comedian from New York, Josh Johnson, mentioned that he found it he found it interesting that like the Doomsday Preppers that like have been prepping for like this type of thing their whole life were told like stay inside, and most of them were like, no. It's like, dude, this is literally the thing you've been prepping for. Like
you've been waiting for this your whole life.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a very interesting way to observation there.
Yeah. Although that's something that I will say that Americans and French people share. It's as soon as you tell them that they don't have a right to something.
Oh yeah.
They'll be like, what do you mean? So my grandma, actually, shout out grandma. She sent me this text yesterday about like how to convince a French person to be vaccinated. And basically it's like, tell them that like, they don't have the right to, and they'll poop their pants. Like, what the fuck do you mean I don't have the right? Like, let me show you right now that I have the right. And then like, they'll get vaccinated. And it's just like, okay.
Oh, I got a question about French culture. What's the deal with, the mistress thing? Is it really true that you're allowed to have a mistress as like, or like you're allowed to have a side piece? Like
define allowed. Like legally?
No, not legally, but like if we're in a relationship, like it's almost like an unwritten rule that we can each have like another thing on the side. I've heard it from Emily in Paris, but also heard it from other people as well. And I'm like, after Emily in Paris, I'm like, oh shit, this thing is, I guess is true, but like I still don't really know.
That's interesting. So I don't know if my like dating knowledge is outdated because it stems from like my parents, but also I feel like it would be reflective of the few friends that I do have in France. To answer your question, I don't think so.
Okay.
In fact, like the more I talk to my friends in France about like how in American dating, like you can keep your options open and be talking to multiple people at once. Some people find that kind of weird. And also in America, all humans are afraid of the unknown. I think America specifically really likes to put labels on things.
Yes.
And so they're like literally labels for every stage of dating.
In the US.
Yes. And you even like ask people like, will you be my girlfriend? I remember when we got to the US, like, but even though I was young, you know, just because of what you see in French movies and stuff, like that was super jarring to my family and I. It's like, what? You like ask a human, like, will you, I mean, I guess consensually, like that's cool. Yeah. Like that's kind of progressive.
And the French were like, consent.
You know, fuck that. Like you let me enter you once, I guess it's a done deal. But,
all right. So what you're saying is that if you have sex with someone, it's kind of just assumed that you are with that person.
That was kind of a joke, but essentially, like if you're spending time with someone, like you're mutually enjoying it, you keep doing it. Like there doesn't have to be this like very official like, and will you be my girl? Like no, it's just like obviously because adults are adults. There's a conversation like, hey, like cool, like are we still doing this? Or we're gonna keep cool, awesome. Yeah. But like that formality around labels and also. It's just, I feel like it's not that deep.
Really interesting. I feel like, I guess it's because this is the only culture I know, but yeah, a conversation, I feel like you can't just assume.
No, it's, yeah. And also like the whole proposing thing, proposing is a thing, but not as like grandiose as it is in America. And I do think that like all Western cultures are taking a lot from American pop culture. Mm-hmm. Like I think people probably propose in grandiose ways more now in France than they did back when I lived there.
Yeah.
But like my dad did not propose, you know, like.
Well, how'd they do it?
I think it was one day my dad like looked at my mom and was like, so are we gonna like get married or,
See,
or what?
I like that.
Like, are we like, is that, so like, what are we doing? You know, and that's it. And actually I think for like one of her birthdays, he got her, it was a, probably a 35th or no, a 30th, something that was like a milestone. Mm-hmm. And he had bought a ring as a gift and they were at a restaurant with like all of their family and he gives it to her as a gift and she opens it and she's like, and everyone around the table is like, huh? And everyone looks at my dad like, are you going to say anything? And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a symbolic gift. That's what it is.
So it wasn't like an engagement thing?
No, it was just a gift that he called symbolic and it was a ring and it had nothing to do with their engagement at all.
So what was the symbolism?
Nothing. It was just like, this is a nice ring. This is a nice woman.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
I think he was proposing in his own way.
Maybe it was. But I don't even think that was like around the time that they had the conversation. I don't know. That's their story. But yeah, so there's no real proposal.
Oh,
there.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've gone way overboard. Like the whole culture of marriage and all that here. I feel like a lot of it's for Instagram.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
You also get to see who your real friends are when they get married. Like when they're like, oh, you got to fly here and stay here. And the total starts adding up. You're like, oh, I don't know if you're a $1,500 a weekend friend. You know what I'm saying? Like then others, you're like, I'll empty out my bank account for you. Like
that's actually so true. Cause I just was the maid of honor at my best friend's wedding. And unfortunately it resulted in me spending a lot of money because when it came down to it, I was like, I don't give a fuck what happens. Like you deserve to have the best fucking weekend of your life.
Oh, that's awesome.
But now that I'm thinking about it, like when I'll have to do it if I do get married, you know, and do the traditional kind of wedding.
Yeah.
There's definitely people that I wouldn't feel that way towards.
Yeah.
You know, and if I really only picked the people I felt that way towards, it'd probably be a really small wedding.
How many people would you picture at your wedding? 50? 100? 200?
Well, first of all, like my grandma keeps saying this to me. She's like, Anna, you're going to have kids one day, but first you need a suitable partner. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know. Well, first of all, I can be a single mom, but I don't want to. I'm not going to do that if that wouldn't be my choice. Well, I could also, that circumstance could fall upon me as well, but if, you know, some women are like, I don't give a shit if I'm going to have kids. And
I just want a sperm donor. I talked to my therapist about that. I'm like,
you talk to your therapist about women who are actively seeking sperm donors?
Yeah.
What have they done to you?
Or the women that there's like, this is a generalization, may not be true. Mm-hmm. I think it is. I feel like there's women that just like, they don't care who it is. This is their plan and they're going to insert who it needs to be.
Yes.
And then when the kid comes out, shit completely changes and they don't give a fuck. Like it's this weird thing. I don't know.
I mean, I can't assert that it's true. Cause you know, I don't know. I've never done it, but there are definitely women out there that like one of their goals, like any other goal, is to be a mom. And regardless of a partner being in their life or not, it's going to happen. I'm not one of those people. I think that's something I can imagine if one day the right person enters my life, that it could be like, oh, like you're someone I would want to share this experience with. But because I don't have that person, I cannot actively think of myself to do that.
I would want the whole team. I want like, I fucking everybody wake up in the morning, fucking talk shit to each other.
Everyone just yells at each other. God, your household, when that becomes a thing, is going to be chaos.
So loud. Yeah.
You guys could just have like those nocturnal webcams just going 24/7. You don't even need like a scripted show. People just tune in. That'd be awesome.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna do just live streaming.
You should on Patreon. Plug.
What's your relationship status right now?
Single. I don't know. I was like, is there a different word for this? Just
you were like single.
Just.
So what's your take on the single life out here these days?
You're so good at transitions, man. Fucking see, this is how you know you're the real comedian and I'm just fucking the fraud over here.
No, stop it.
No, you're like pushing us towards your desired topic, and it's fantastic. I love it.
I'm not as planned out as you think.
Hey, well, confidence is key. Fake it till you make it. I'm sorry. What was the question?
What's your take on just like the single life these days, like dating and all that? How is that?
How is dating? I wouldn't say that I'm actively dating.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm currently very happy with the investments I'm making in myself, like spending a lot of time doing comedy and also spending a lot of time in a new job that I'm pursuing, and also spending a lot of time like understanding and knowing myself.
Yeah. That's big. How long have you been single now?
Since 2015.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
But there's like the opposite of that are the people that like
the serial monogamists.
Oh yeah, dude. They're weird.
Yeah.
They're
I'm a serial. Weird. I just eat cereal. That's like, I can't. There's just me and my bowl of cereal and not anyone else having their own cereal. But I'm not at a place where I think that would be the most beneficial use of my time for either party. Like I don't think it would be a good thing for that person because I'm not ready to be investing that kind of time, literal as well as like, emotional time and whatnot.
Yeah. And you're a hardworking comic too. Like you're out most nights of the week and you're honing your craft. You're getting funnier. You had a really great set last week. I was really proud of you. That was awesome.
Every time you tell me specifically that you think I had a good set, I'm like, that means I really had a good set.
You commanded the room. It was awesome. And your stuff was like, it was good. Good job.
You.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, go ahead. You're working on your craft and
it's just, and I'm just really happy with the time that and the way that I'm investing it. And I don't think I'm seeking a change in that right now. Now, of course, like there's always the chance of life, right? Like if there's a person that like walks into my life and it happens to be someone that all of a sudden makes me feel like I do want to change the way I'm investing my time, then sure. But right now that's not the case. And I like refuse to get on dating apps because I don't know how you feel about this or if you're a pre-dating app motherfucker.
No. Rachel and I broke up for like a year, and around year 4, and I still didn't do it. I was just like, let me try life without it. And I was up to here with phone numbers. I'm just kidding. But I didn't need it. I was just like, I was going to yoga and I was meeting people
right.
do the things I like doing. And
we have to do yoga together. That's a conversation for another time.
Do you do hot yoga?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Plug. I need to stop doing that. It's like
That's gonna be the name of your episode. Plug.
I'm like the least plug of a person. I would be so scared to deal drugs in high school. Oh my God.
The plug on a Vincenti.
That's God. If my drug dealer friends could know me now, they'd be so proud. They'd be like, damn, you've really changed.
Yeah.
But the dating apps. I've never personally been on a dating app and thought to myself, I feel great right now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good about myself. It doesn't make me feel good about the prospects. No offense to like the dudes with fish. Like I don't feel good about seeing that every day. And like, it's again, like when we're talking about use of time, like during COVID, when I was on dating apps, simply because there was literally nothing else to do, right? You couldn't leave your home. Like you couldn't like, go. This was pre like restaurants reopening and shit. Like when truly there was nothing to do. I didn't feel like I was missing out on other things by using my time that way. And even still by using my time that way, like, it's exhausting. You're having the same like small talk first encounters.
Yeah.
That to me feels so much worse online versus like small talk first encounters like out in public.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
It feels different. Like, you know, you have body language to rely on. You have an environment to rely on. You have like, you know, I don't know.
You know, it's like you kind of have to, because on an app, you're doing small talk. Can wait and be like, how should I answer this? Whereas
Right.
like in person, like you're forced to be, there's a rhythm
Yes.
that you have to like keep going.
Right. There's a rhythm, like, and I can perceive if you hesitate. Whereas like, if you just decide to like, oh, sorry, I was busy. Like
I fell asleep at 5:00
PM. Right. And you're like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, and then also it's like, it's kind of like binge watching a show, except it's not something that you enjoy. Like you're mass consuming these small talk conversation for like
hell.
for like however long you're on the app that day. And I'm just like this with my time, with my precious ass time. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel good. And the few times I've tried to re-download it, I'm like, this still feels just as unpleasant as the first time.
Yeah.
And thankfully now that the world has like kind of opened back up a little bit more and I'm going out and doing comedy and like, you know, that's kind of it. But like the other things that I do, you know, just going out in public, I'm perfectly content with the few and far between encounters that brings, even if they're not fruitful encounters at all.
Have you ever had a guy hit on you after a set? Like
like 90% of the time.
Oh God.
Most times that I do comedy, I expect to get hit on afterwards.
Wow. What's your plan of like?
Well, it's changed. Like when I first started in comedy this summer, I was like, I mean, you know, classic trope of a woman, like, oh, like don't like upset them, like by like rejecting them. And so I like, if people ask me after a set this summer, like, oh, are you dating or whatever? Are you like single? I'd be honest. I'd be like, yeah, because I'm an honest person. Like I don't give a shit. I realized very quickly that was a mistake, that I should always answer that I am in a relationship, whether or not that's true. And actually, I had this one guy. This is right when I learned I should just say yes, regardless of the circumstance. And he'd like bought me a beer without like talking to me first. He was like, yeah, here's beer. And I was like, thanks. And then he like, this was a dirty bowl. And he went and sat down. I did my set. I went like back to the bar to like get another beer on my own. And he like came and found me and he was like, so what's your deal? And I was like, in comedy? Like, he's like, no, like, what's your status? And I was like, in comedy? Like, what? I don't understand what you're asking. And he was like, are you single? And I was like, no.
Gosh,
and
guys are so weird.
And I saw it in his face as soon as I said no, that he did not like that answer. It just went like, it kind of like an eye roll.
Yeah.
And so then he responds, like, because he was obviously like butt hurt that he had like, I didn't even ask for this beer. This dude like straight up he felt like I owed him or something, or at least that's how I perceived it. And he's like, oh, okay, well then want to hear what I thought about your comedy? And it was obviously not like, hey, like, can I let you know what I thought about your comedy? It was like a retaliation because he didn't like my answer. And big mistake for me is I was like, sure, why not? And he was like, I had just done my, I think that night I did my set in like my French accent or something.
That was funny as shit. I liked that risk you took. It was like a good way to shake things up.
Yeah, I just like, fuck it. Like, let's give it a try. Cause it might be more believable with certain, you know, jokes that I have. Anyways. And he was like, yeah, like this whole like immigrant thing you got going on. I don't know if this is like a bit that you're trying or if this is like a persona of yours, but like the audience like super didn't vibe with it. Like I kind of got it. Cause like my dad is from Iran. So like I got what you were going for, but like totally didn't land. So I think you should just drop it. And typically when people give me that kind of feedback, I like brush it off. I'm like, you know, this is one person's perspective, whatever. But I had like accumulated so many of those experiences of dude just like saying unsolicited, like rude shit to me about like myself, my comedy, whatever. And I left and I just felt, I lost it. Like I felt so shitty after, like normally I like brush it off, but I was so sad.
Damn, that sucks.
I was just so angry and sad. And I was like, I'm just in comedy.
You had a good set that night when people were loving that.
I mean, I think it was fine. Like was it my best set? No. On this particular night at Dirty Bowl, it was like, I think it wasn't my first time trying it, but
yeah.
Was it my best set? Absolutely not. Like also like the point of an open mic. But also like what made me most angry is not that this guy gave me feedback. It's that this guy made me the problem that he created. Like he was upset with me for not being available to him after he felt entitled.
Yeah. And then he decided to like be shitty about
Right.
it.
He's like, oh, I don't like that you're not available to me. Therefore, let me shit on you because I can? Because you can choose to make me feel bad? Like, that's what made me most angry at the end of the day.
Damn, that sucks. Have you seen him around since? Mm-mm. Oh. I'll beat the shit out. I'm just kidding. Take him out back.
He was so... I could probably take him. This guy was not.
What do you think about the most?
Well, I feel like swayed by your answer you gave earlier. Okay, because I'm a really indecisive person, I'm going to qualify what I'm about to say by saying that this changes over time.
Yeah.
I guess I could pick like an overarching thing, and it would actually probably be similar to your answer you gave me earlier.
Oh, cool. Let's do it.
Okay, so if it's not bound by time, like this period of time that I'm experiencing in my life now, and you just take a bird's eye view of like life in general, it would probably be people. And that's actually also would be my answer to like, what are you most passionate about? And people are like acting or like sewing. For me, it's people. Specifically like understanding people, because I feel like the more you understand people, the more you can connect with them.
Yeah.
And I love like, especially connecting with people that it seems unlikely that someone like me could, or someone that's so different from them could, especially people who like maybe are like misunderstood. Not that I'm like trying to befriend like, you know, murderers and serial killers and whatnot, but I really like, I think we're all on this planet because we want to be understood. Like once we come out the womb, we just want to be seen. We want to be understood. We want to feel like our existence is validated. And so if I can do that for someone genuinely, I'm not going to like pretend to be like, I super get that like you don't like Jews and like would rather us be dead. Like I'm not going to pretend I get that.
Yeah.
But to the best of my ability, especially after that sociology class I was telling you about that I took in college, like if I can not agree, but at least understand you and tell you that, and hopefully you can understand me too. I feel like that's like,
there's a feeling that comes with that connection, whether it's like I live for like the 30-second, 45-second interactions with someone, like the person cashing me out at the register. And not that I'm like, I'm going to make them laugh. It just comes natural. Like you can feel it, and you have a moment, you laugh, and it's kind of like you get this feeling of like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like, there's a good person out there, or like,
like there's a human in here. Cause like there's so many interactions that we've made transactional because they're cyclical. Like they happen all the time. Like the person at the cash register, or I don't know, when you cross someone on the street, hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like just the things that become transactions. Like I think you're someone who probably, I'm making an assumption here, who like walks around life trying to like make those transactions not transactions, like to make them new every time.
Yeah, no, I don't have like a script or anything. Maybe there's like old ladies that walk around at like 7:30 in the morning, and they're doing their like workout, and I'm like, don't hurt them, ladies, don't hurt, and they're like, oh, you know.
but that like that may be like scripted for you, but for them, that's probably like no one's actively shouting that at them like at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it make like, you know, it's gonna make their day a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, you told me already what you think about, but tell our viewers.
Yeah, I think about like how different people interact, especially different subcultures and stuff, and like noticing the patterns and the crossover between different ones.
Ooh.
So like I don't know, skating's a good one. Like people who like skating typically are like go with the flow types.
Exhibit A.
They're like creative types, and things like that. And then just like noticing that, or even like stand-up comedians, a lot of them have a bunch of different hobbies or interests and things like that. It's not uncommon to have a stand-up that's also either can sing or like play some kind of instrument or something like that, or draw or something like that. So I just like noticing those types of things.
Can you sing or draw?
I cannot sing.
Damn.
But that doesn't stop me.
I was so hoping you were gonna like break out in song right now, just like High School Musical it.
What if I was like, yeah, I'm really no, but I cannot sing. I don't think that'd be fair for anybody. That's like Jamie Foxx is like, now I would be Jamie Foxx, and there's already a Jamie Foxx.
There is.
No, yeah, I can't sing. It's like when I tell you it's so bad, like I could tell people will lose respect for me. Yeah, she's like you're like tone deaf. I'm like, that's cool.
Oh my God, are you tone deaf?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
I sang. I was singing in the bar at Good Nights, and I could feel heads turning. like please stop, like kind of like that. And and then I had, when I finally called myself out for not singing, that's when people were like, oh,
thank God. Like, cause they thought you were, they thought you were like so into it. Like, oh, like he thinks he like knows what he's doing. Like
my mom, she'd be like, this nigga swear he could sing. Like if I sing, she'd be like, this nigga swear he could sing. Like, I
would love to see your mom in action.
Oh, I
want to meet this woman.
Oh, next time she's in town, I'll invite a bunch of people over.
That'd be great.
Yeah, she loves it. She like my house when we were kids was like the house where like all my friends would come through.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and like, you know, if they had
like all the kids are like, I love your mom.
Yeah. And she likes cooking for people and all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She's great. So different people getting together. Going back to the thing you said about with labels.
Yes.
It's so true. I've talked to people where they're like trying to figure out what box to put me in. A lot of people need to figure out what box to put you in before they can go on to like the next level of conversation.
Right. Before they can connect with you.
Yeah. So I've had ones where people are just like, I don't know where to place you. And I'm like, why do you need to place me? Like, let's just talk. I think maybe people do that because they don't want to offend people. They're like, what am I cool to say and not say around this person?
Right.
Kind of thing. So
I get, I mean, I think it's like innately human to be afraid of the unknown, which is why we like explore things and like try to find explanations.
Yeah.
But I do think sometimes we take it too far, like anything. Like, again, I'm a huge believer that like everything's a double-edged sword. Like my mom once said to me, speaking of labels, right? We talk about like strengths and weaknesses. And my mom once said to me, and I fucking blew my mind. And I told this to a friend and she didn't agree, but this is something that's really comforting to me. She's like, there are no strengths and weaknesses. There are just qualities.
Ooh.
And depending on the situation that quality needs to be used in, it can be a strength and it can also be a weakness. And I was like,
I agree with that.
I was like, Mom, you fucking rock.
Yeah, and the underlying thing there is context, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Being funny. Yeah, like being funny can be, it's great a lot of times, but like there's situations where trying to be funny just has the opposite effect. People at my job are like, oh my God, I saw your Instagram. You're so funny. Why don't you do that in the OR? I'm like, because there's someone's spine. What are you talking about?
Because there's a half open person in here.
And also like
oh fuck, like
yeah
with a scalpel.
One time I have a loud voice. One time it was like quiet in the room and I had to tell the doctor to like do something. And I was like, yeah, doctor. And I guess so I like startled him.
Yeah.
He didn't hurt the patient. Yeah. He was like, huh. He was like, I was like, I'm so sorry. He goes, no, it was just very quiet. And then you started talking. So I was like,
and Freddie Valois entered the room.
Yeah. It's like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I usually just stay quiet at work and people are surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm quiet. Unless I'm like when I'm talking to someone, then I'm playful and all that.
But also like, I can imagine that like you're in an OR and someone's like halfway open. Like you know,
yeah.
I'm knowing me. Cause you know how you said earlier, you're easily excitable. Like I'd be like, wow. Yeah. Oh my God, a bone. Man, actually that job would probably be really hard because I'd be so excited about everything. I'd be like, wow, you just did what?
It is cool to watch. I'm like, oh shit. Especially when I can see, like when they have good camera systems.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll watch the surgery and just kind of get like
so cool.
Hypnotized by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I saw someone's stomach today and then like, yeah. Like
what was wrong with it?
They were doing a sleeve. So they were just,
like gastric bypass.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was bariatric surgery. The coolest one is brain surgery. Like when you get to see someo's brain.
Yes, I told you I wanted to see that one. Like my dream is, I know it's not going to happen, but my dream is for you to be like, I got my assistant Anna coming in today. And I'm going to be like, yes, it is very important that I hold the pamphlets and that I be in the OR for the pamphlet holding.
If I could find a way to get you in there, I swear to God, I'll do it. Because it'll be fun to just have another like fun person around. Yeah.
We just be in the back like, your brain's so fucking ugly.
Like, dude, what kind of brain is that? You call that a fucking...
Yeah.
What else?
What
else do you want to talk about? I don't know.
Why don't you want to talk about find
my iPhone?
Yo, where you at?
Yeah.
Family dynamics.
Oh, shit. That's right. Mm-hmm. You have a very close family, and I fucking love that. You have one of the cutest Instagram follows. If you're into wholesome... family Instagram follows, please follow Anna.
Plug. Plugging my family on Instagram. I love it.
Are you guys open and honest with each other? Like, do you guys have tough conversations or is it weird, passive aggressive? Because I see a lot of, what I've noticed with a lot of families is weird, passive aggressive type shit. And it's kind of, it's just like, it's weird. or they can't be themselves. Let's start there. Forget everything I said.
Yeah.
It's like people can't be themselves around their parents. So they're like, it's like these two different people.
Yeah. Well, what I will say, so first question, I think we're very open with each other, and I do think we can be ourselves. That being said, just as like the role that I occupy as like a daughter and a family member is different from like the friend, is different from like the employee. I do think there's a different piece of myself that I am with my family that I may not be with other people. And that person is actually like, I think I have this theory. It's probably not just me. I think like people much smarter than me have theorized this already, but like we're like the ugliest with the people
we're closest to.
Yeah. Because especially with family members, because, I've been taught my whole life that like family first, like when everyone else in the world is gone, like you'll have your family. Like I have this perception that like my family will never leave me. So even if I am the ugliest with them, like they have to take it and they have to be understanding. Yeah. And also because, that's, I think, the nature of like very long relationships with people. Right. So yeah, we are very close. And I do think there's a different piece of me. And actually my dad always calls me a pessimist. And I think that's just because my dad's so fucking annoying that I'll just shoot him down. And I even told him like over the summer, I was like, that he has a scale. I don't know. He's got this scale and it's like, what is it? It's annoying and funny. And I'm like, and it has to be balanced because you can be funny even if you're being annoying, but if it's not balanced, you're just an annoying motherfucker.
Yeah.
And to like get on my dad, like I think what would make my dad the saddest in the world is like if I didn't think he was like the best, most funniest person, which he is. So I would just look at him and be like, you're being like really fucking annoying right now. And at first he'd be like, oh, that's funny. And then I'd be like, no, you're actually being like super annoying. And he'd be like, oh, no, don't say that. Like, that's like not like, and then it's not chill, it's like, it's not true. You're just being mean. And I'm just like, and he's like, you're such a pessimist. And I'm just like, you're just fucking annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's my dad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm going to be the same exact way when I have a daughter.
Oh, 100%.
I promise. Like, I'm already like that with Rachel. It's either I'm funny or like you're fucking annoying me.
Right.
Or sometimes I'm just not doing anything. And she's just like, I just want to take your face and smash it on the.
Yeah.
What's up with that with women? There's like this weird, like, and I like that because I told her, I was like, you got to tell me more when you feel like that.
Right.
She's like, right now. She's
well,
like,
you know what? I actually like related to that, but more with physical pain. I just read this New York Times article about how a lot of women's pain in the medical field is dismissed because so inherently women, because we have like periods and like cramps and like all the things that come with like our things that our bodies go through throughout our lives.
A cache of problems at a moment's notice.
Right, exactly. And so and it's more whereas like a guy can get hit in the dick and like yes, it will hurt. Like in female bodies, we have like these cyclical pains that we experience.
Yeah.
I mean, because of that, for the most part, we're actually, according to science or this article, we are more pain tolerant. So that when we say that we're experiencing pain, it's more likely to be a more serious kind of pain than the one that a male is experiencing. And so sometimes like a dude will be like, oh, I feel pain here. And the doctor will be like, actually, like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And then if a woman expresses that same kind of pain, they'll be like, oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it. But actually it's something a little bit more serious because we're likely to be more pain tolerant. And so I think with the whole, like wanting to punch you in the face thing, it's like, we have to be more tolerant, but not also like our patience is shorter.
Yeah. I could take that.
Well, especially again, with the people we're closest to, right? Like she probably can't tell like her male, I don't know, acquaintances, like you're being really fucking annoying right now, but you.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. And there's, she's given me some insight into being a woman in like the corporate world, which is really fucking cool. So that's that's one of those like people, those dynamic things.
It is interesting.
That I like talking about. But where can people find you, Anna? This was great.
I'm so glad. I want to hear about your family dynamics, but we can talk about that at a different time.
Yeah, if you want to come back at any time, we can talk more like current event type stuff because that's the vibe of the show is going to be switching more to that, where I want to have more comedians on, talking about what's going on in the world, and be funny about it and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. I feel like I didn't provide the funny today.
No, I think it was a fun conversation though.
Oh yeah, I had a great time.
That was that's on me because I want to know about you and stuff, and this was great.
Mutual. Where can we find like on the social medias or like in life? My address is
Yeah, social media.
My Instagram used to be Iron Man. It's not anymore, which is so sad. But my Instagram is Vincenti.
Yeah.
I think
Why was it Iron Man?
I love the story, and I'm going to make it short.
You don't have to rush it. We're not.
So last year in 2021, I decided to like put all my shit in storage to do like a cross country road trip by myself while I continued to work remotely for a couple of months.
Wow.
And I had to buy gear for a lot of the hiking I was going to do. Cause like before that I like to hike, but I didn't have like any of the gear for it. And so I went and bought this jacket on sale, and it was like Iron Man red colored, like, you know, that like darker red.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one day it was super cold and I put it on and also put it over my head and zipped it all the way up. So it looked like a little, you know, like the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I look like fucking Iron Man right now. And I posted an Instagram story. I was like, do I look like Iron Man? And everyone was like, yeah.
Oh, that's so
So I changed my Instagram handle to Iron Man. And then I did like stories of like Iron Man, like going on this cross country road trip.
Yeah.
And then once I had like a nosebleed, and I was like, Iron Man has nosebleeds too, just like you. Like I was trying to make like Iron Man a human person. So yeah, that's why it was Iron Man.
Is that your favorite superhero?
No.
Who is?
Marvel?
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah.
I'm telling you my least favorite.
Okay.
Captain America.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
We're gonna shut this down. All right. Why?
Okay. Well, actually, okay.
I think I understand.
No,
why, but-
actually, specifically, not having to do with the comics, but like, I don't know if Chris Evans is a problem. I don't know if it's his portrayal of a character, but like in the movies, he's just like a super generic, like I'm just the dude, I'm the good cop and I don't do much else.
Yeah.
In the movies. And so the portrayal of Captain America was not particularly exciting or nuanced. It was just kind of like the only nuance is like, should I go back and like date my wife that's now like 400 years older than me or not? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm being pulled in so many different directions. So that's why.
Rachel feels the same way. My girlfriend.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah. She's like, fuck that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She's like, like during Civil War, he's just so like all about himself. Like he doesn't care and whatever. But
you know, it's probably Doctor Strange. I think is so cool.
Oh,
I also,
God, he's awesome.
Benedict Cumberbatch could do anything to me, and I would be fine with it. He could put me in jail. I'd be like, fuck yeah, do it again.
Is he like a heartthrob type guy for the ladies?
So people used to tell me like, oh my God, he's like so hot. And I looked at his face and like, his face is fucking weird as shit. Like his eyes are so far apart. I'm like, are they even occupying the same plane? Like probably not. But I don't know. First of all, the accent helps, but also he's like, so the way he can get across so much with his facial expressions.
Oh,
and not in like, you know, whereas I'm like I'll do like huge, his are so nuanced. And yet I'm like, I can feel so much. It's just, I think he's just a great actor.
You excited about Multiverse of Madness?
Oh my God. I'm going to poop my little panties. I'm sorry.
I already got the tickets.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. My buddy gets them. He's like he wins like sneaker raffles.
What?
So he's very used to getting tickets.
Can I get them too?
I think we're already tapped out on the tickets. Sorry. But we usually have a movie group that goes and watch.
Oh my God, really?
So it's usually me, Rachel, him, another guy. And then we usually try to get like 2 other tickets. But like Jordan Cornish has been with us a couple times. Yeah.
I would love to join.
Yeah, we can include you. It's usually like Marvel movies and others. You know what I haven't watched yet?
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized like my nerd card, I'm more worried about my nerd card being taken away than my black card, which is also always under review.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Batman yet.
The new one? I haven't either.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, I feel much better about that.
I don't know why, but I'm skeptical of it.
I hear it's arguably the best Batman.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That makes it okay. Well, now my expectations have increased. My expectations were so fucking low. I would have probably loved it if I went to see it like right now. But now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's credible nerds that have said this might be the best one.
Wow.
The Riddler's performance the Riddler as a villain was better written than like, let's say the Joker in The Dark Knight. It's a 3-hour movie, but it feels like shorter. And The Dark Knight was a 2.5-hour movie, and it somewhat starts to fall apart towards the end.
Yeah.
Gets a little messy, but this one, it's like, and it's more like detective noir type shit. Yeah.
So I heard they're trying to do like different, like, you know, the first, what's his face? Batman. I can't remember his name.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, the second.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. He's more like the, like, I fight villains, like more like the physical Batman,
Yes.
and what's this the new one, and I'm not forgetting his name.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson is more of like the detective, like
Yes.
murder mystery solving type.
Yes.
Batman. That's cool. I like that angle.
Yeah, me too. I like that a lot. I like the like you said, like the Christian Bale for me was like I really, because I love ninja type stuff.
Yeah.
Ninjas and magic, and if you can put those together somehow, that's why I like
That could be a category that you explore,
Right?
as a comedian.
oh my god, the audience is gonna be like, get this fucking guy off the stage.
I would pay so much money to watch a guy from the Dominican Republic do some ninja magic on stage. I'd be like, this should go to Vegas. This is unique.
Yeah,
No one does this.
I like do my set, and then like 3 women are pregnant in the audience.
Now check your bellies.
Now go to this doctor and get an ultrasound in a few weeks.
Come back. Let me know what you get.
Yeah, so I'm excited about Doctor Strange though, because Wanda's gonna be in it, and I think she's like gearing up to be the badass bitch that she really is. Like, I'm excited about that.
Okay, thoughts on ScarJo?
The Disney contract thing was weird, but I'm glad she fought for that. She's not in any of the movies anymore, right? Yeah.
Although didn't they give her own movie that she's gonna, or was it canceled?
No,
No, that's the one that came out that like all got all fucked up with the Disney contracts. Yeah.
It was not. It
Wasn't
fell
good?
flat.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
I think we wanted a like give us Black Widow in the Red Room. Give us that. They gave us some weird in between thing, but what we got out of it was Yelena, her sister, which she's great. The Hawkeye series was awesome. You saw a little bit.
I
of her
still haven't
there.
seen the Hawkeye series.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out. It was like a Christmas time thing. The chemistry.
Actually, I've seen like the first 2 episodes, but I actually really like the first 2 episodes. But
Yeah.
I haven't finished it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Kingpin's in it. It's and the chemistry between the younger girl Hawkeye, it was awesome. One thing that I found weird was like he was walking around with her in the city, and it was clear that like the Avengers were like celebrities at that point.
Right.
I was like, if they saw him walking with a young like mid-20s girl,
Right.
the tabloids would have been like, who is this
Right.
girl? Blah blah blah. You know, whatever. I don't know, but other than that, it was good. Wholesome movie. Yeah.
Yeah. The musical number, like on the very first episode, was so fucking cringe. Like I loved it, but it hurt to watch.
Yeah, so that you know how they do like an extra credit or whatever after the thing. Can I spoil it for you?
Just do it.
It's the fucking musical.
No.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah.
I have to finish it now. Oh my god, that's so funny.
The show's great, but the after credits.
They're just running out of ideas.
Hate watch it. Just hate watch. Yeah, you
Okay.
can do that.
I'll do it.
So did we get? Oh, Anna Vincenti. We got it.
My name is Anna Vincenti. That's also my Instagram name.
Yeah.
I'm the only one. So
Yeah.
that's kind of it. Like Facebook, I don't tweet. I'm bad at tweeting.
That's probably good.
Yeah.
That seems to bite people in the ass later on.
Yeah, my TikTok is no longer. So yeah, that's it. Just Instagram.
You don't
really.
do TikTok?
I actually I'm gonna be real. I fucking love TikTok, which is a problem. Like I haven't had the app on my phone in like multiple weeks, and I actively miss it, which is bad.
Yeah.
China has like a chokehold on me right now.
Me too.
I know. But I used to make TikToks, but ultimately I think that, you know, similarly to other social media apps, like, and the thing I was talking about earlier, like investing time, I'll invest like way too much time in something to seek the validation of others. Even if I'm proud of the outcome, if like others don't like the outcome as much as I did, I'll get like bummed. And for whatever reason, it's not the same. Like when I do it on stage, like if someone doesn't like my joke, someone doesn't like my joke, but like it hits different on TikTok. And so I'm more of a consumer on TikTok than I am a creator.
One of my favorite moments with you doing stand-up was at the Gatsby mic, which is a mic that we all bomb at. We all were bombing.
I'm glad everyone agrees that we all bombed there. I thought it was, I'm like, why? I'm like, why is this so painful for seemingly just me? Like,
no, we all bombed, and you were up and you were bombing, and you just had this very real moment where you asked the audience, do you guys like me? And I was like, every one of us thought that, like, or at some point in stand up. So I started dying laughing, and I was like that's fucking
like,
awesome.
are we enjoying this? Is because I'm not. So are none of us? Like, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, that was rough. I guess we can actually end this now.
Yep.
This is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, follow Anna Vincenti. She's funny. She posts flowers. We both are flower posters on the IG.
I was going to fucking talk to you about the flowers, man. That was so white of me to miss that. That was...
No, I did that on purpose. I'm just kidding. We both post flowers. She has awesome, wholesome family content.
Wholesome.
She's a hilarious comedian. Yeah, follow her. Anna.Vincenti, and share my stuff. Share this clip. Slide in Anna's DMs. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Do please, especially if you want to give me money, especially slide into my DMs.
Follow Anna's OnlyFans. All right, that's it for us, guys.
Adiós.
Subscribe to FredTalk. Bye.
Hasta luego.